In this episode, Walaa is going to share with us different training, workshop, activities that they are implementing in schools, in companies, in different organizations that are fun, enjoyable, actionable, environment related, and very diverse. So have a listen. So Walaa, it is a great pleasure to have you here. Really, I'm very excited to show you what we have here and also to continue our conversation that we started a few months ago now.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard about Eedama, and I got very curious. I heard about sustainability, I heard about education, which is okay, like many people mention these words, but also your approach is a little bit different. So I'm wondering if we can start by you telling us a little bit about how is Eedama looking at sustainability and education and the connection between the two.
First, thank you for having me here. Basically, Eedama, if you want to look at what Eedama is, Eedama, we like to define it as a catalyst for change. So basically what it does, it sets examples or it enables people to learn about sustainability, to re-question their choices, to have more like sustainable, conscious choices in their living. And we are a sustainability enterprise, a social enterprise that focuses on sustainable education through hands-on learning. So our approach is always hands-on. So once people understand the impact of their actions, then action can happen. So to simplify it, we kind of we pave the path for action. We make action more tangible. So this is
right. I think that's a good summary, and also you are bringing it down into the action, into the learning by doing, which is the experiential learning approach, and that's really how much we can learn and we can accelerate the learning. Because once I try it, once you engage me in the learning, I will master it faster.
Definitely.
So when we think of Eedama and we think of learning and getting access to learning through the learning by doing approach, where do you see, like what dimensions do you see present in Eedama's activities?
Okay, so basically, maybe if I'll just go back to maybe the previous question before I connect it with the previous question. So basically, Eedama as a name is an Arabic word that means to make it last. So when we're talking about activities, we focus on things that are easy for participants. Yes, we give education sessions to kids in schools, like field trips or hands-on activities or workshops, entrepreneurship trainings, but for them to see how something is done. So if I would go to a recycling facility, if I tell you as much as I want about waste and all the waste and everything, but you don't see it or you don't see it firsthand, then the extent of your understanding would still stay, I would not say limited, I mean, it depends on the person, but when you are seeing something or experiencing it firsthand or sorting things on your own and see how much waste you're producing, and then the experience changes. So basically, what Eedama tries to do is to connect the dots between the science, what's happening in real life, and our actions. I'm not sure if this answers your question.
Absolutely, because this is how we operate as well. Our workshops and the Hambi place, what we bring on, we bring an understanding of industrial hubs through the workshops. All the workshops are put together with this purpose, that we get you involved in making soaps using hemp seed oil, because that gives us a good opportunity to tell you what hemp oil is, how hemp is growing, etc. But after the workshop, you walk away with the hemp soap and you have the hands-on experience. You try it yourself and then you decide for yourself if this is something I want to continue using, I want to create, I want to make myself. So I fully resonate, with the message. And I also love when you mentioned that Eedama is opening the doors for learning by doing approach, for the experiential learning approach to kids, students, universities, companies, CSR groups, taking field trips, advising on field trips, and really bringing real life examples within direct reach. So people can draw their own conclusions, they can connect their own dots, and that's something truly fascinating. Now, something that I skipped at the beginning on purpose is not to introduce you, and now I would like to take that opportunity and introduce you not only as somebody who I feel is super dedicated to Eedama's mission, but also as a parent who is already collaborating with the you showed me that reel there where you collaborated with your son and you created something back to school in a sustainable way, an amazing reel. So you are already a living example. You are walking the talk. And I am very much curious of how your view, your perspective on education and learning has changed since you joined Eedama as Walaa and as Walaa as a mother.
Okay. It's an interesting question. Now, I have always been passionate about the environment. I mean, this is also as in my studies, my background is I have a master's in environmental engineering. I've worked with several NGOs. I've always done that. But working with Eedama, and I've always done also outreach, working with Eedama, where there was a big exposure to a lot of children, and through camps, through school programs, and being a mom at the same time, kind of opened my eyes about like how important it is to really continue doing it. Now, once you do these workshops with kids that you don't see again, you don't know your impact. But once you see your kid repeating or adopting certain behaviors, this actually makes you appreciate what you're doing and appreciate the impact of the awareness sessions and the educational, like introducing sustainability in education. You understand it. I would give an example or an anecdote. The first time that my son went with me on a Masdar City tour, we were explaining how in Masdar City, the first thing that you see when you go in, you see you see the staircase. You don't see elevators. And the reason behind that is that they want to encourage people to use the stairs and not use like elevators because they consume energy and all that. So move forward a couple of weeks later, I was going down from the gym, which is on the 11th floor, to my apartment, which is on the 10th floor, or 12th to 10th, sorry. So I wanted to take the elevator. And then my son, that was 5 years old at the time, looks at me and he said, "Mommy, you want to take the elevator? What happened to your sustainability?" So it's a small story, but it's a thing that shows you that, yes, I did not think this kid is going to remember this small piece of information, but then to see that they are actually retaining it and basing some of their choices on it, that is really, really amazing. And it encourages me to do even more with more work with kids and all of us. And you see that they learn, we make it fun at Eedama. The difference is we try to make it fun. We try to make it tangible. They have to see it, they have to understand it. So yes, I appreciate what I'm doing with Eedama even much more since I've seen it in my close circles.
And that's really phenomenal. And also the phenomenal part of it is just, it's like daytime magic, you know? When we think of, some of us, many of us, might think of education, we would think only of the classrooms and the school. Whereas what I noticed is whenever people, especially actively involved in the field of sustainability in some kind of activities, when they say education, they mean holistic. Yeah. They mean a lot more than just academia and mental health, a lot more. Yeah. And that just really nicely reflected in your words when you said we want them to see the results, we want them to have fun, we want them to enjoy the learning, and we want to see that they are already contributing, like actively reminding us or taking action or taking an active role in shaping those mindset of the others. So that's might be a very small story, but there are many of these stories, and surely many more are to come, you know, with Eedama's activities and its growth. So a question I have for you is about the connection, the level of openness that you experience. Eedama has been around for a couple of years. Now, what extent do you feel and openness on the side of schools and organizations and companies to these type of learning activities.
A lot of schools are engaging, but a lot of other schools, and I would go back to not only schools because I can't blame it on the system itself. Some of the parents, if let's say, the school prices a trip at a certain cost, the parents not understand why that's happening. So they kind of feel like, oh, what's important about the sustainability trip? Why should I send you to a sustainability trip? Let me send you to, I don't know, Legoland or something. That they would pay quadruple the price for Legoland, but not paid for sustainable education. So yes, there's a lot of initiatives, and I mean, to look at the bright side, there's a lot of change that's happening, but people are underestimating still the need for the sustainable education and the engagement. But luckily, we've been having more schools engaging, and we've been having a lot of companies also asking for CSR activities and sustainable events. And thankfully, the country has labeled this year as the year of sustainability, where people started actually wanting to know what this word actually means. So we're kind of on the right path. But what I would maybe advise schools and teachers specifically is that our kids view them as a role model. So they will copy what they do. Just like they see us at home, they also will copy their teachers. So when the teacher sets an example of conscious choices, it could be something as simple as, let's use the other side of the paper, or let's just use our resources from last year, or very, very simple choices. And they could be initiatives, let's do a planting competition in school. So there's a lot of initiatives that can be run by schools, even without the need for external help, like educational partners. I mean, as Eedama, would love to be their educational partner, but even schools, if they would not want to cooperate with someone from outside the school, they could still do these little changes and do an eco club, let's say, or have a lot of activities with the kids to make them feel that this is part of their nature. If we are going to go back to education and think of education, we're not just teaching our kids math and science and English and Arabic, and you're going to grow and become an engineer or a doctor and this and that. Yes, it would be lovely if they choose their own path, but at the same time, we have to make them understand that they're going to grow up and become global citizens. And for them to become global citizens and part of this world, they have to feel that they've done their part to protect this place. Whether they're going to live in the UAE tomorrow or they're going to live in Alaska, what happens in one country really affects the rest of the world. So this is what I would like schools to maybe incorporate that within.
Yeah, when I was listening to you, I was thinking not only of schools and teachers, but also any kind of company or any kind of work environment. The example you set has an impact on the others. Yeah. So if you are choosing to become a better person, if you are choosing to become more knowledgeable around sustainability, then it will have a direct impact on the others.
Yeah.
They will change, like you are creating and transforming your reality.
Yeah.
In a way. And this is the knowledge that might be already given to the kids. And maybe we are relearning it. I don't always think that we are the knowledge givers, but it's more like we are exploring and discovering it together. Because I really like that example, that how you created that trio with your son. It's just a perfect example of a collaboration. And it's not me, the mother, the authority, and I'm the know-it-all, but me as a partner, and let's do this together, and let's do this together with a purpose.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a great reminder as well of something that's easy to do, something that just takes that intention that you really want to create, and you want to contribute, and you want to be actively involved. So I appreciated all the reminders.
Thank you. Now, I just wanted to maybe tell you about the video that was created with my son. It was basically us discussing with him, what do you think? We want to do a going back to school video. And it was his first time on a mic, first time talking to the camera. But the idea of him sharing his own experience made him even more proud about it. So every time he holds his juice pack, he says, yes, this is my juice pack, because he knows, he kind of appreciated that even more. although he's been doing the same thing for, I'm sorry, his juice bottle, sorry. He's been doing that for the past, I don't know, for so long. But the fact of also sharing the knowledge, so if also schools could have that where kids can share their experiences, and then they become even more proud of their accomplishments. And that doesn't go to shaming. It could be something as small as, I did not buy a new bag this year, or this something as small as I'm using both sides of the paper, like I mentioned earlier, or this is my pencil from last year. So these little things, if kids can actually journal them or say them in a way so that they're also proud and setting examples to other people, I saw it firsthand how it makes the child proud, and also his cousin, of course, the other kid with him in the video is his cousin, who's younger than him. He also feels proud, and now he appreciates all those the little gestures even much more. And we're talking about 6 years old and 7 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The key word is appreciate, really.
Yeah.
Starting with it's enough. And this is something I read recently about sustainability, an interesting perspective where the author starts out by saying sustainability just means that we know what's enough, and we know that we have enough and we are enough. So it's really just appreciating what we have and appreciating who we are and appreciating the resources we have access to, and knowing the word enough and knowing how it feels like. So I really appreciate, you taking the time, coming all the way from Masdar City to Ajman and joining these Hambi Talks. I'm looking forward to see Eedama growing. And I'm also looking forward to contributing, to helping and supporting so it can grow bigger and bigger and bigger. Sure. Thank you.
Be a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening to this talk. And if you enjoyed it, you are going to definitely enjoy the next one, that I'm interviewing somebody who volunteered to become an intern with Hambi people. So I'm going to be asking Aida about why, what drives somebody like her to do an internship when it's not required by the university. So it's going to be the next episode.